And again, even if you missed it earlier, you guys just joined us. You have to look at the stage that they showcased earlier before game one because we were surprised as well. Now we're going to be jumping into game number 2 draft here. Burmese Ghouls once again will be switching things up. Now, draft-wise, some similar heroes popping up, obviously. You know, the Joy, the Rafaela, still taken out by Twisted Minds. Burmese Ghouls on the flip side, respecting that Fanny pick. They take the Arlon out, Barrett, and lastly, we see the Matilda. So first phase of bans already out here. What are we looking at first pick here, G?
Right now, we're probably going to be seeing, from the side of Burmese Ghouls, probably a utility pick. Probably an EXP if I had to imagine at this point. It seems like that they normally pick the EXPs or the roam, and they're just going to run it back. Burmese Ghouls felt comfortable in their current draft. They first pick win, or second pick win last time, and that allows them to just keep it going. And again, it's that flexible role that Gwen brings to it. It can either bait you into thinking it's the jungle or bait you into thinking it's the roam. Now, I do like Twisted Minds aspect of these 2 picks that they go with. The Ruby, Morrow coming into this game needs to keep in mind that Burmese Ghouls are aggressive. If they catch you, they're going to take advantage of you. Same thing with the Claude. I like it. It's a great late game. It's going to allow them to scale, and I want to kind of see how Burmese Ghouls replies to the Claude.
I was going to ask, man, is this the redemption? Is this redemption for Morrow here? At least like on the Ruby? Like, I like the fact that you pointed it out, right? You at least you have the Claude this time for Twisted Minds. I think that's good to start with here. But I don't know, man. If you're Twisted Minds, you also might want to somehow take care of the Kai, because a lot of those lockdowns with heavy spin worked really well. They could let that slip through. They could not worry about it, of course, at the same time. Burmese Ghouls, though, pick up a Paquito. Man, Paquito, it's kind of funny because if I remember right, group stages, did he show up in the mid lane? I'm trying to recall if he showed up in the mid lane. I think he did. And it's funny, right? Because he's a threat, right? Before, he was one of those heroes that's so flexible, fits in a lot of different roles. But obviously this time he's not in the mid lane. And I think still the fact is that burst damage potential is really what we have to, of course, pay attention to, because now you're basing your draft on the fact that you have IMU across from you, right, from Burmese Ghouls. And I like the pick, right? I want to ask you, since you're the smart man here, how do you feel about Aurora?
I like Aurora. To be honest, I was actually going to talk about that, and leading into that is perfect. AP Bryn was having the toughest time against Aurora. The Frigid Glacier that she brings to the playing field just in team comps can just freeze everybody. And not only does it freeze you, it brings such an impact and burst damage to the playing field that it's almost comparable to Nana. It just comes out of nowhere. And then paired with the Blazing Duet is just going to be a monster for Twisted Minds again to burst off of against Burmese Ghouls. But kind of getting into the second ban phase here, we do see Minnow being banned up. Wild.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of, like, for Twisted Minds specifically, the fact that they do have, you know, with the lineup they have in this first phase, I think, again, it can work well. But you're kind of hoping that you get the Frigid Glacier off. And yeah, it's a mouthful. Let's just call it Glacier, right? Get the Glacier off and work with that. And to be able to be a little more aggressive, because like you said, the fact that it kind of works like a Nana, like you have that also a little room to work with when you're relying on that passive, you know, being available to you. And you can poke down, hopefully, to lead into the Blazing Duet. Or, once again, if this is redemption arc for Morrow, you actually have great tools just in the Claude and the Aurora alone, right? You can land an I'm Offended, and that is deadly, man. If they can actually land that and pull that off, that can be very deadly. So real quick, take us through those last couple bans that we went through.
Yeah, we do see that they ended up taking care of the Harith and then the Exborg. Burmese Ghouls responding to Twisted Minds' pick of the Exborg constantly throughout this tournament. And then I also like Twisted Minds. Harith in the gold lane can be detrimental against a Claude just because he's able to build those shields up. Now, I do like Twisted Minds' pick here. They go for the Fredrin, right? Now, again, this could fall into the hands of Burmese schools to pick up that Akai. They didn't opt to go for to ban that out, and this could be a great counter to the Fredrin. So, and I think Twisted Minds is coming back into the aspect that they weren't scared of the Akai. Though the Akai did change the tide of quite a few of the fights with that heavy spin, that they're not falling into that fear factor that Burmese schools was trying to instill.
Oh, just as you were saying that too, I was thinking about, fear factor or not. The great thing is now you have the Grok across from you from Burmese Ghouls, and then you have this Bruno, right? There's a lot of CC potential here from both sides, really. And again, it comes down to how you're able to utilize that. One thing I love about Grok is just the fact that for the most time, you do see him with some great initiations with the Wild Charge, but a lot of times too, it's used to peel and save the team, and you have that actually in a couple different heroes here for Burmese Ghouls. So if Twisted Minds is thinking like, yeah, let's come out swinging, let's try to get these setups here. Well, then that's the thing that Burmese Ghouls, like, I'm expecting them to kind of adapt, right? You use the Wild Charge if you have to. You can use the Terrify mechanic with having the Valentina there for you. You can even use the Spatial Migration, like, in a way to kind of help the team either initiate or disengage. And so there's a lot of things that can fall into place here.
Definitely. And I like both picks here. We do see the aggression coming from Burmese schools. So I think that's something we'll have to keep an eye on, Naisu, is that how does Twist Minds respond to Burmese schools being match point? They're good. Like, this should be the make it or break it for Twisted Minds. And they're going to be bringing everything to the field and not walk into certain areas, and keep that in mind. But we're going to get into the game.
That's the biggest way to put it, G. You got to be able to not get caught out here for Morrow and really try to find these lockdowns here. So we're going to be loading up as we jump into the Land of Dawn. Once again, it's match point here. Burmese Ghouls in this best of 3. It's a single elimination match. Twisted Minds has to stay into the game here. And with the draft that they have, are they in position? Once again, Saksa in that jungle on the Guinevere. And across from him, man, we, of course, have 7 Oda on this Fredrin again. We'll see how this kind of unfolds and what the pacing is going to be here for both these teams.
I do think that kind of just building upon, like, 2 aggressive teams going at it, I think Twisted Minds has to take a step back, right? Burmese Ghouls controls that aggression. They have a great controlled aggression, and Twisted Minds is just going to have to play a little passive here. They need to come online and stay and keep Burmese Ghouls at bay. If they can just essentially bait them, not lose too much, and keep them at bay, I think the passive play is the correct approach. And we can already see that coming from Morrow, right? He's not being as vision aspect as he used to be last time. He's going to apply the pressure in the EXP lane, because we were seeing that Delar was just going insane against Mike there. And I think that we need to utilize the Yuzong quite a bit from Twisted Minds, right? That's the only response we really have to the Bruno.
Yeah, and with that, still the focus on the top lane already, looking for that first blood, though. Delar, able to flicker out, will be just fine, but this is what we're talking about, the pressure, right, from Twisted Minds, the lineup that they have. Even with that, Nico trying to get the combination off when he had that unoffended stolen over from Morrow. But now with that, first turtle is going to be up here for both teams to go ahead and start up. Burmese Ghouls getting in position. Blink not having that level 4, doesn't have the Wild Charge yet. Dragon Form going to be used by Mike, pushing Saksa back. Nico tries to jump in. There's the Wild Charge, though. 7 Oda able to secure it. Now Saksa on the run as he gets taken down. First blood from Mike.
This is good. Twisted Minds able to get the first blood here. Burmese Ghouls being put at bay, right? Like, and I feel like the Gwyn, right? The Gwyn is it's more of the assassin type of jungle. It can get in, get out, and you have to utilize it like that, right? And I think from the side of Twisted Minds, having that utility jungle is going to keep Burmese Ghouls at bay. Now, to response, I think Burmese Ghouls needs to press even harder against Twisted Minds, because you can already see that the passive plays are happening from them, and they're just keeping Burmese Ghoul at bay. economic lead, not too bad. Burmese Schools keeping it up, as well as Twisted Minds even securing that first blood. Not too much of an impact in the overall gold lead here. We see an engage.
Okay. Yeah, as we jump in, Saksa, though, able to survive. Whoa, there's the pull, though. I'm offended. Going to find the connection they were looking for. Now going to be caught under the wall. Maro's going to be the one to fall. 7 Oda going to be the next target. Goes in with the Appraiser's Wrath. Still trying to hold on. Able to scoot on under the turret and will survive. That was a crazy trade. I mean, we lost it for a second, but we came back, and it was just a fight going for it.
It was like a rabbit being pulled out of a hat right there. We were like, what's going down? And then bam, they hit us. And Burmese Ghouls showing Twisted Mind what they're bringing to the Land of Dawn here. That was a good go by Burmese Ghouls. And it just goes to show that they have a really solid front line. And oh my God. Wow.
Mike was just taken out. Yeah, that was very quick. Again,
KO'd.
Laying things together. Yeah, getting KO'd there. But still, Burmese Ghouls trying to find this lead that they can. Maro going to go in with I'm offended. Nico, look at the damage. The burst is there as Nico's going to be the one to fall. And now it's Blink going to be the focus. The next target gets shattered down, but will be able to survive for now. Delar trying to help him out. Turtle's going to be up. Oh, Nico out of the picture. They have to carefully approach this. Mike, Sama also there, Coffin in position. There we go. The Glaciers coming down, but I'm not sure if they're going to be in the position they were looking for. Delar now going to be working on it. There's the Violent Requiem. Turtle going to be screwed. Saksa, he's able to pull it through. Still going. Cuffin's going to be the one to fall now. 7 Oda there, jumps in. Wall's going to come down, but the flicker follows through. Delar looking for the kill on Mike. Gets dragged down, back to it. Nico gets the kill, though. No one falls for Burmese Ghouls. 2 down for Twisted Minds.
And I think they might want to take out Maro here as well. KO punches coming out. Able to secure the kill for Nico there. Burmese Ghouls now showing that same aggression that we seen into the last game. And I got to give it up to them, right? That was crazy. The Black Dragon utilized by Twisted Minds was their key. They were attempting to try to zone out and instill fear into Burmese Ghouls utilizing that Black Dragon, and it just wasn't there. They didn't give up the pressure. They were like, I don't care about that dragon in the sky. Bring it at me. Utilize that Violent Requiem to set him up, and then not only utilizing that spatial migration to come in and hit the retreat on the turtle was just crazy from the side of Burmese Ghouls.
For Twisted Minds, once again, in this a position where they're finding themselves economically falling behind, right? This is tough. Big item pickups here, too, for Burmese Ghouls. Berserker's Fury there. And also to deal with some of the sustainability from Twisted Minds already with the Halberd. So they're still going to be working on it. The resources are also going to be taken through here. Burmese Ghouls, when they have the lead, this is what they like to do, right? They like to continuously put the pressure here. Pay attention to Blink. A lot of the times he's going to be doing exactly what he has to with this Grok pick, and he will be decisive enough to use that wild charge when he needs to. There's the jump in, though. Maro could be in trouble if they commit further. He's quite tanky himself, so right now, nothing but it's Twisted Minds holding on to the pressure. Concealed play going to be used. Blink still there, providing the vision with this Grok. Turret's going to fall, though. Tier 2 in the bottom lane. And there's nothing right now that Twisted Minds can do. Turtle's going to spawn, though.
Yeah, I mean, Twisted Minds, they attempted to do what I was saying earlier on. Keep that passive play in mind. And try to secure some of the neutral objectives, but I do think they have lost. They kind of tunnel vision into that aspect, and trying to figure out how to counter the aggressiveness of Burmese Ghouls is the play here for Twisted Minds. They're being pushed back against that wall once again, being forced to mount up defenses. I like their play right here. They're attempting to try to take something. If they can't get the turtle, maybe we can take a tower. Oh, they might be able to get a pick here in the bottom lane.
Oh, still going to be working on it. That's Delar going to be in trouble. Flicker's out, though. He's able to survive. The 1-2. Delar survives despite a full-on focus, plus the turtle taken for Burmese Ghouls.
That, man, I thought they were going to get a pick and a turret, but we do see Burmese Ghouls clapping back.
Clapping back they do. They get a kill. They're happy about Burmese Ghouls furthering the lead they had. Malefic Roar picked up by Stitch. The damage department's going to hurt here. And right now, Twisted Minds backs completely against the wall under the 10-minute mark. It's looking dire here. Still, Morrow gonna jump in. I'm offended. Still, the wild charge comes through too. It's a mega kill already for Nico. And Twisted Minds down the roamer, trying to hold on to these shields the best they can on these last turrets into the base.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give it up to Nico there. We see Morrow trying to come in to get a great I'm offended set, and then Nico like, hold up, I'm offended that you just tried to offend me, and then pulled back the clap there, and that just allowed Burmese Ghouls to just keep scaling. The economic lead is definitely in the favor of Burmese Ghouls and Twisted Minds. What I think they're really lacking compared to last game is I don't know if they have that defense that they can mount.
Oh, once again, conceal play going to be used. Mike going to be the focus. Still surviving for now. Wild charge goes through. Blink gets the kill. What a play. Now Morrow going to be in trouble. Goes in. Another flicker as Morrow falls 2 down under the turret of Twisted Minds. Still, Burmese Ghouls unrelentless here as they assault parts of the base. Still working on the turrets, though. Twisted Minds, what can they do? Trying to hold on here. 10,000 gold behind. Turret's going to be worked on. Delar in position. The 1-2 punch. It is deadly, but they're going to get the turret. They're happy with it. Might get the mid as well.
Yeah, I think they're going to take as much as they possibly can here just before they back off and take the Lord. Are they going to actually... So they're not even worried about the Lord. They're like, go ahead and go solo that Saksa. We'll keep them at bay. Keep them pressed against the wall. Maybe take another turret here. And Twisted Mind is trying to find a lead somewhere that they can stop Burmese Ghouls' pressure. And I think it's just tough, right? I feel like the Cuffin is going to have to utilize that Frigid Glacier to do something. The Black Dragon also could be utilized to mount up a defense. Again, this is only their first Lord, so it's not enhanced, but Twisted Minds is wide open at this point. They're going to have to.
Gee, you know what is enhanced right now?
Burmese Ghouls.
I think anybody can answer that right now. I mean, with this lead, man, it is deadly. And it's the same thing that happened in the previous game. And even more enhances Delar. Malefic Roar just picked up. Pressure going to be here. They're holding on to this bottom turret. Yeah, it's the first Lord. But at this point, when you have this kind of lead, man, it's tough to deal with, right? Burmese Ghouls completely controlling this pace just like they did in the previous game. So now going to be working for it. Lord in the mid lane. Twisted Minds, the work cut out for them. They have to pull out some kind of miracle here if they can stay into it. Dragon Form going to be popped. Delar on the bat side might be looking for his own entry point. They're going to try to hold on the best they can. Clear the waves out.
Keep an eye on
It's going to be worked on. It's going to be going. Saxon could be in trouble. Goes in. Wild charge. Not going to find the connection they're looking for. Delar waiting patiently on the backside. Looking for his own entry point. Goes in with a 1-2 punch. Gets a couple off. Has to flicker out, though. Lord finally going to get worked on. Taken down by Twisted Mind. Still holding on. Morrow, though, goes in with the I'm offended. There's the glacier they're looking for. But they lose a couple bodies in the making. Cuffin's next. Passive going to be popping. He's going to go down. Now Burmese Ghouls looking to take Twisted Minds out. Still working on the base, but they want to get Mike. They take him out. And now it's only Sano. Base going to be worked on. And Burmese Ghouls will sweep this series 2-0, sending Twisted Minds out.
Sending Twisted Minds home. Burmese Ghouls showing that they are fierce competition in the digital games of the future.
Now, before these players, before they proceed on for the rest of the year, right? I mean, they got to this point, they got to the playoffs. Both these teams, though, gee, we talked about this, man. As we take a look at the highlights here, we talked about the fact that how the experience was for these two individual teams in the group stage, right? I mean, it was some dicey games that they had, and honestly, I was expecting a 3-game series here, like based off what we saw in the group stages. But there was something about Burmese Ghouls today where it's like, and you pointed this out, I don't know if it was a stage or like the setup that they're going through or what, maybe what they learned from the group stages and everything. But man, like this is a Burmese Ghouls came out hardcore swinging, man. I don't know what they did, but there was not very many weak points in their play today.
No, and I think that just goes to show that they just didn't make mistakes, and then they took advantage of the mistakes that Twisted Minds they did, you know. And I think the turning point was the second turtle when they were trying to utilize that black dragon to secure the area, and it worked against them, to be honest. Burmese Schools set a trap, put Twisted Minds in that trap, and then took everything from there. And we can kind of see that they just kept trying to, you know, bait Twisted Minds out. They were able to utilize the Valentina very well. We can see that Nico was 4-1-1. It was just, it was a tough game for Twisted Minds. And I think it ultimately, I mean, from my side of the, you know, being an NA and everything, North America doesn't have on-stage experience. And I feel like that's kind of fallen into Twisted Minds at this point. This was like, I want to say, their biggest stage that they walked on. Could that have been a playing factor? Maybe.
Yeah, and you know, speaking of that, like, I don't know, it's kind of poetic. Like, again, against them, their minds just seem literally twisted in this series. I don't know what it was, but they weren't able to pull off what they needed to do from start to finish in both games, you know. And again, MVP here, Stitch on Bruno pick, but really, like, for me personally, this game itself, Delar had an amazing game from, you know, what we kind of saw in game one, where he struggled just a little bit, right? I mean, there was a little bit of struggle there, but for this game, like, he was on point with the Paquito, and it allowed Stitch to do what he needed to do on a Bruno. When you are a gold laner and you can have that gold lane experience, like I like to call it, right? Like, you can just farm up, you can just knock turrets down. Bruno, by the way, is like one of the best, like, turret destroyers out there for marksman picks, right? But then you get to scale up really well because of your team pulling things off from start to finish, you know, and then you get to shine really later on. And that's really what allows some of these gold laners to really shine. And as you take a look here at the stats, like, you can see how crazy it was for them.
Oh, definitely. And I think that building off of what you were saying, Stitch, he was just in his golden state. He was, you know, again, it just seemed like Delar showed so much pressure against Mike up there that it forced Morrow to have to rotate up and help the EXP lane, and that just allowed Stitch to just further advance, right? And I feel like that's where the Bruno goes. He is a particular tactile hero, but put into the right hands is an absolute menace in the land of